So here we go, guys. We're back into the next game, the final game for this sort of best of three, I guess you could say. It's not an official best of three or anything like that. It's just an affectionate name that I have for it because these guys are playing 3 games and it's fun to say that he has a girlfriend. Yeah, amazingly I do. Okay, so let's see what this map spoiler was that Lawrence was talking about. And okay, I don't imagine that it could be Fire's map who's playing down here in the southeastern sort of corner. No, I wasn't talking to my right hand. The southeastern corner. His map doesn't look terrible. I mean, he does have a sort of nice backwood here, his berries, although they're on a little bit of a lip of a hill here. They're really, really close to the town centre. Get the girlfriend to co-cast. Okay, she said she's better than me, so there's no point because it's not considered co-casting. It would be just her saying everything because she knows a lot more than I do, or something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing, of course. But yeah, he does have 2 balls out on the front. As we Pyro said no, he doesn't want to see it. Yeah, so we're seeing 2 balls out on the front as well, which, as we saw in the last game, can be quite detrimental. For these guys here. But apart from that, his map doesn't look terrible. He does have a nice gold at the back as well, and a secondary gold at the back. He can kind of sort of wall that off if he goes from here to the edge of the map, or even put a town center out here as well to secure these 2 golds. So I'm not really sure if this is the bad map that Lawrence was talking about, but we'll zoom over to Melkor and we'll see if he's got the short end of the stick. And once again, he kind of has. I mean, his map is definitely a lot better than it was last game. He does, again, he's got some resources at the back, but it is pretty open out here toward the front and the right of his base. So this would be, if he was to wall all of this, this would be a wall that a Chinese player would be quite proud of, I think. But no, he has opted to go for the wood out on the front of his base, and quite wisely sending 4 villagers out there as well, just because the villagers have to commute or have to be in transit for quite a long time to get out here to that wood. So his wood income would be a little bit, maybe a little bit too low if he had only sent 3 out there as well. But he has sent 4 over there, which could tell me that he might be wanting to go for a drush here. Both players are playing as the Franks, which I believe I failed to mention earlier on. But yeah, so it could be interesting to see what each of these players go for. Obviously, they want to try and get to the castle age as quickly as they can without having just going ahead and doing a straight fast castle, because Frankish Knights are just so strong, owing to the fact that they essentially get free bloodlines. The first ball coming in here for Melkor. There's not too much else to mention apart from on his base, apart from the fact that his main gold is out here on the front. As is another woodline here and his berries too. So all in all, I would almost want to say that Fire does have the better map in this situation. That's a bit of a messy sheep kill, but that's fine. I'm willing to bet $100. Oh, damn, yeah. Neither of them are playing in different colors. That's fine. But yeah, so it looks like both players have gone ahead and got 4 villagers out to wood straight away. So we could be seeing a drush from either one of these guys. If a drush is going to be coming up, we should be seeing a barracks popping up in about 30 seconds in game time or so. But for the time being, there's not too much to comment on. Both players just trying to scout out their opponent now. With Melkor having found Fire, and the same about to maybe have been said for Fire, but is Fire just going to miss Melkor? I'm not really sure, but this could be interesting. Anyway, if we're going to see a drush, barracks will be coming up for either player soon, or are we just going to be seeing the stock stand, or not stock standard, but are we just going to be seeing scouts from both of these players? Are we going to be seeing man-at-arms? I'm not really sure. 4 villagers out to wood normally indicates a drush, or maybe some sort of man-at-arms play. I don't really play too many Frank walls. I'm not too accustomed, but there we go. We see a drush, or maybe a barracks at the very least, coming up here for Melkor, who is the one who has scouted his opponent's base. He has found 2 houses, so at least he knows where Fire is. but he hasn't really scouted too many of the key resources that he's going to be wanting to hit when his drush comes into Fire's base here. And the barracks is up. Are we seeing militia? We are seeing militia. So we're seeing the stock standard, drush, as opposed to any sort of man-at-arms. Any funky man-at-arms play here. And is Melkor going to run right into the town centre of Fire? No, he's not. He's going to be nice and safe and get out of there. And it looks like Fire, who has not actually scouted Melkor, but knows that he's in this area on account of the fact that he has seen the 2 stones and one of the golds here from Melkor. He's clicked up to the feudal age now. And it looks like he's just going to be going for scouts, splitting his lumber, putting an extra lumber camp down here to the very, very, very far back of his base. And it's going to be scouts by the looks of it from Fire, and it'll be a drush, as we've already seen, moving out across the map here now from Melkor. Although he's only made 2 militia, does he have another one? He does have another one popping out, so he's not going to send these 2 guys without over without his 3rd buddy. His friend is going to be joining very, very soon, and now Melkor is getting the important. And now Melkor is getting the getting the important information as to where the resources are for Fire, and he's probably suspecting as well that Fire is either going to be going. Oh, he's not going forward again, is he? Is Fire being cheeky and going forward, or is he? It looks like he's going to be going forward again, potentially having scouted the fact that Melkor's wood line is absolutely crap once again. So it looks like he might be going forward to drop some barracks and some rangers, which could be really, really strong if Melkor doesn't spot. But Melkor now moving into the back wood line of Fire, and he's going to be getting some nice idle time on these lumberjacks. He might even get a villager pick, and from a drush, or for a drush with only 2 militia present, that's going to be really, really strong. Is he going to get the villager pick? It doesn't look like he will. Moving back over to Fire, we can see the forward barracks coming up now as well, and the 3rd militia has finally made his way over to join the party. I am from New Zealand, I'm not from Australia. But Fire putting down the barracks, and I don't think it's been scouted from Melkor yet either, on account of the fact that his scout is buzzing around in Fire's base at the moment, just trying to be a bit of a nuisance. And he has caused a nice bit of idle time here as well from Fire, with the villagers having to be in transit, going from the lumber camp back to the town centre, although Fire can now safely take these straggler trees for the time being, giving him enough wood to get up one of his first archery ranges. And this is a nice wall off from Melkor here, but it doesn't really stop Fire walking all the way around like that. But for the time being, it is quite a nice wall off, and he still hasn't scouted these forward military production buildings yet from Fire, and he's still got his militia alive. Maybe even worth upgrading this to man-at-arms if he does want to be a little bit pesky about it. And we'll see if the man-at-arms... No, he's getting a spearman out first to try and deter the scout from Fire, as Fire starts moving in with his 3... I thought he had 4 villagers. Oh, he did. There's one right there with the spearman. Didn't see that. Okay, so he's putting a tower up, and this is a nice tower because it is going to deny the berries. It's going to start being able to put pressure on this wood line here as well. One of the only wood lines for for Melkor, actually, while his militia stand idle at the berries from... while his militia stand idle from the berries of Fire. And I like this, mixing in 1 archer as well, just to be able to try and put down a little bit more DPM onto the spearman that was coming out from Melkor. But if it gets focused down by the tower, then it's going to get an arrow to the head, and it's going to die very, very quickly. But it's a nice tower here from Fire, putting a lot of pressure on the economy, on 3 major parts of the economy here from Melkor: the gold, the berries, and the wood. The wood arguably being the most important resource at this early stage in the game, and he isn't really pressuring it so much as just caused a little bit of idle time for Melkor at the beginning, or in the beginning rather. Not so much that Melkor couldn't get up his archery ranges and start pumping out some skirms and archers to try and deter this, but enough that he might have been able to gain the upper hand. But in saying that, Fire's only actually up on 1 archery range. Does he have another one back at home for defense? No, he doesn't. So Fire only up on 1 archery range at the moment, and he's got the wood, exactly the amount of wood that he needs to plonk down another one. And is he going to plonk down another one, or is he not going to plonk down another one? no, he's just spent his wood on something. Farms at home, houses, lumber camps, something else at home. So he now no longer has the... Oh, he's going to go over here and start mining stone and maybe continue the trush. But this is quite cheeky. Ah! Oh, is there a hole? No, there's no hole. So right away, this drush is sort of going to be a little bit useless now that it's trapped in this this little area here. In Fire's base. So at the moment, it looks like the forward aggression from Fire has been dealt with quite nicely from Melkor. And, you know, he's not really going to be able to do too much with the militia and scout at home anymore. Oh, sorry, at Melkor's base, owing to the fact that it has been walled up here with the houses and the mill and the few palisade walls there as well. But a couple of archers moving around on the left-hand side for Melkor is going to be able to maybe poke some holes, see what happens in the... see what else is happening in Fire's base. And he has actually scouted this other wood line down here for Fire. Oh, he hasn't scouted it directly, but once again, he can see that there are chopped trees here, so he can assume, quite rightly so, that there are some trees, or that there is some lumber camps. There's a lumber camp down there from Fire, and it looks like that's where he's going to be heading out to straight away. And Fire, having mined enough stone to put up another tower, is going to go ahead and put up another tower. Seeing as though his first one didn't work out so well, he thought, well, why not repeat the exact same thing and see what happens. But now Melkor moving into one of the lumber lines of Fire, and he's causing a nice bit of idle time here as well. Nice micro. He's got two villagers, or two lumberjacks just running around doing nothing, and another couple of supplementary archers moving in as well. And he might be able to get a villager pick if he focus fires that. One villager at the front down, 10 HP, 6 HP, two more hits. No, might not be able to get that. Moving back over to the watchtower from Fire, it looks like this watchtower is going to go up uncontested, but it's not really going to provide any. It might zone Melkor off, a couple of these farm positions here, but apart from that, it's not going to be doing anything too detrimental to Melkor's economy. But Melkor is, in my opinion, definitely on the upper hand here. Even though he is 6 villages behind, he's causing a lot of idle time and a lot of damage to Fire's economy. Again, moving in with a couple of archers down to this lumber line at the south of his base, and being a nuisance with these 4 archers, picking off some villagers here on the farmland. Did he get it? Is he going to get it? Yes, he got a villager on the farmland from Fire, but Fire bringing his skirmishers back now. And this amount of skirmishers is definitely going to be enough to deal with these pesky archers, even though, or irrespective of the fact that Melkor does have fletching now as well. But the archers are still just going to be as much of a nuisance as they can be. Still going to be as much of a nuisance as they can be until they get picked off. And you can see these 2 skirmishers not even facing the same way as where they're firing, and they're still managing to hit these archers. That's how strong skirmishers are. They don't even have to be looking in the direction. Don't even have to be looking in the direction that they're thrown to be able to take down what they need to be able to take down. These militia are still trapped. They're still trapped in their little petting zoo, I guess you could say, and they're going to slowly be whittled down by these skirmishers, doing absolutely pretty much no damage at all. You can see, that's awesome. Okay. Not too much else happening there, but it looks like all the aggression from Melkor and Fire's base is being cleaned up, and a bit of a skirmish back here in Melkor's base between the skirmishes of both players is going to be going down. And Fire is still only actually up on 1 range at the moment, and he does have a blacksmith, he does have fletching, so in terms of that, both players are going to be even on the upgrades here. But it's starting to look like a kind of a messy game. Melkor completing this wall off on the left-hand side of his base, with padded archer armor coming in as well. In Skyrim Wars, padded archer armor doesn't actually do anything, but it is going to provide a little bit more tankiness for of these archers here that Melkor is more or less continually producing out of these ranges here. And Fire is still only up on 1 range, and that surprises me a little bit. I thought that his economy might be set up strongly enough between the mill and the house. There might have been a hole, but if there is a hole, it doesn't really matter because the militia are dead now. So I guess that part doesn't really matter. But yeah, Fire is still only up on 1 range. And that sort of surprises me as well, because the 2-range production and as well as the stable, this is a really, really nice addition. The stable being thrown down for Melkor is going to be able to pretty much obliterate the skirmisher army from fire, putting Melkor, in my opinion, into a really, really nice position, even though there is still a 5 villager deficit between him and his opponent. I personally think he's in a good position, especially since with a couple of scouts and some skirmishers, these forward villages here from fire are going to be cleaned up pretty quick as well. If he does decide to focus them down. And does he know that his stone is being mined? He does not know that his stone is being mined, but he might have been able to kind of safely assume that it would have been, seeing as though he didn't see any stone being mined back at Fire's base. But either or either way rather, Fire clicking up to the castle age now with gold mining coming in as well. It's going to be interesting to see what he goes for. Presumably, it will be knights, seeing as though his opponent is somewhat sort of not heavy, but he does have quite a few skirmishes out on the field, I guess you could say. So a couple of knights in here would just completely obliterate all of this feudal age army, and yeah, scale barding armor coming in now for Fire, which definitely says that he's going to be going for knights, and if nothing else did, then the double stables that he's putting up at the front of his base also indicates that he is going to be going knights in the castle age, and why not? I mean, knights as the Franks is just such a no-brainer, such a strong move that is going to be in a really, really nice position to be able to whittle down this feudal age army from Melkor, and Melkor really needs to push in now and do some sort of damage. It's not going to be easy. He's throwing up a market now in an attempt to maybe buy himself up to the castle age, seeing as though he is floating a lot of gold. His town centre is obviously it's tasked over to gold, which would explain why he does have quite a bit. But he's clicked up to the castle age now, a good couple of minutes behind his opponent. But if he can do he's going to have to do quite a bit of damage now. Or at least keep Fire in his base with the knights for long enough that he can get up to the castle age and start pumping out some knights of his own. But Fire with a couple of skirmishes popping out of the stables with +1 defense, even against the archers, against the skirmishers and against the scout, these scouts are going to be fine to clean this up from Fire. Oh, well, okay, I stand corrected. But either way, the knights that are now going to be popping out of these two stables from Fire are definitely going to be enough to clean this up. And a stable coming down from Melkor now as well. So again, we're going to be seeing double stable knights coming in from Melkor at the beginning of the castle age when he reaches it. I say when because I'm sure he'll be able to hold the first sort of foray of knights that do come out from Fire. Fire also putting up an extra town or a second town centre down here on one of his secondary golds, which is sort of what we hypothesized at the start of the game as well. With his knights immediately, the +1 and free bloodline knights moving out across the map now as well, looking to try and start getting into the economy of Melkor here, maybe doing a little bit of damage, but he's going to find that Melkor is quite literally full walled. I don't think there's a hole anywhere in here, as far as I can see. I don't think there's a hole behind the market in the house, and he's not even bothered funneling toward the town centre here. He's literally just walled all the way up. So he's going to be in a good position to be able to hold Fire's initial aggression of knights here until he gets up to the castle edge, which is what we see now. And is there a hole there? No, there's no hole there. Don't be silly. Apparently there is not always a hole, so someone needs to tell Zero Empires about that. And a monastery coming up now as well as a couple of knights coming out for Melkor here. And a monastery is a really, really nice defensive measure against any sort of slow-moving cavalry like war elephants or knights or anything like that. And an extra town centre coming out on the front of his base to try and... Okay, wait, no, hang on, that was Melkor that deleted that. I thought that was Fire having got in straight away, but a nice town centre placement is going to be able to secure this... forward wood line, which is really what the issue was for Melkor at the beginning of the game. Again, his wood line was just absolutely crappy. Monks in a Frank War, never. Yeah, it's quite rare to see monks in a Frank War, I think. But Melkor, at the moment, he's waiting for the monks to come out, and he's going to be able to hold this. These skirmishers just throwing their little javelins at the knights of Melkor here aren't really going to be doing anything. But 3 town centers up now for Fire. Fire also chucking up a monastery in an attempt to be able to deter any knights that do come out, maybe from Melkor should he decide to push out and counterattack. But Melkor in a good position now. He's got an extra town center up, but he's gonna start falling behind economically again, just like we saw in the first game in the Mayans War, owing to the fact that Fire does have an extra town center up above him, or over him rather, and double bit hacks only now just coming in for Melkor as well, whereas Fire has got Bowsaw. So those are two. It's a big upgrade that Melkor doesn't quite have and didn't have throughout the feudal age. I'm not sure if it was just that he just didn't get it or didn't have the resources to get it, but a nice defense, a nice a little bit of defense here from Melkor, positioning his knights such that the knights from Fire wouldn't be able to get in and start picking off his monks. And this is just turning into a classic Frank War now. I mean, the feudal age maybe not so classic, I guess, but turning into let's just go knights and maybe chuck out some monks and stuff like that, and just boom up as best as we can. Is starting to pull ahead now as well. And the third town center finally coming up for Melkor, out on his main gold, which is now starting to be dwindled a little bit. Yeah, so the knights from Melkor moving in down to the south of Fire's base, but Fire's reactions are quite on point. He's managed to garrison his villages inside the town centre that he placed there at the beginning of the castle age, but not before one of his villages on the farmland goes down, quick walling his villages in the woodline inn, and having evacuated this woodline here, all but this one villager who, if Melkor is paying attention, is going to be slaughtered very, very quickly. And yep, okay, there's one villager down there for Melkor. For Fire even. And more knights coming in as well at the front of Fire's base, and this is quite a nice TC if Fire can hold its position, because it does offer quite a lot of map control for him, in my opinion as well. Melkor's still just going to be a bit of a nuisance, and is he going to be able to deny this fourth town centre from Fire? If he's paying attention, he's going to be able to do it, but it looks like that town centre's going to get up. I guess Melkor's a little bit of a conversion war coming in here as well from the monk, going to get battered to death by 2 female villagers. But another monk from Melkor coming out. No, he's going to leave his buddy to die. That's fine. Yeah, I guess Melkor's attention was in other places and didn't really notice that this town centre was going up right as his knights decided to run past it. But a bit of a skirmish between the knights here. Both players even on upgrades at the moment, but this is going to be a nice fight for Melkor. Had an extra monk and more knights in there as well. He's going to pick off 3 knights, I believe, from Fire without losing any of his own. So that was a really, really nice trade from Melkor. Putting up a 4th town centre as well out here on one of his secondary golds. And if he can hold this position, this will be nice for him as well, on the count of the fact it is on a hill. And it is going to be securing one of his extra golds, which is going to be very important if he does decide to... which is going to be very important if he does decide to continue this sort of cavalry line. But Fire taking a nice fight here as well. He's got an extra monk in here, which got a conversion, I believe, on some of the knights from Melkor, and he's starting to push in now as well. Maybe going to get a few villager picks here on the woodline from Melkor even. And in terms of villagers, 13 ahead for Fire. He's looking in a nice position, throwing up another town centre. This is cute. 2 town centres right next to each other, one securing the wood and one securing the gold. So 5 town centres now up for Fire, and I believe it's still only 4 town centres. Well, not even 4, because this one out here on the eastern side of Melkor's base got denied, and that was a really, really nice move from Fire, with chain barding armor now coming in from Fire to give his knights just a little bit more tankiness in terms of taking fights. He's going to be able to take fights even when he's a little bit outnumbered, but in terms of military he is 8 ahead. In terms of villages he's more than 8 ahead, so he's 18 ahead at the moment, and Melkor finally able to get that town centre up and immediately chucking out some villagers out of it. But pikemen coming in now for Melkor as well, and this is not really what you want to be seeing when you're forced to when you're forced to start researching the pikeman upgrade, it's going to be such a defensive measure, and I mean, in my opinion, it's quite an expensive upgrade for what you get. I don't really. I mean, obviously, if you're falling this far behind in terms of knight numbers and military, yeah, you want to get some pikemen out there to be able to deal some additional damage to the knights. But it's still going to be it's resources that if you can afford it, not really what you want to be spending them on. Forging coming in now for fire as well, so he's looking to go not all in the castle age, but he's looking to start piling on a lot more pressure onto Melkor here than the other way around. And husbandry as well, just because he wants the pretty ponies to run just a little bit quicker. It's looking in a really nice position here for fire. A lot of farms falling idle for Melkor on account of the fact that he has absolutely no wood. But this is a scary amount of knights and some villagers coming forward for fire as well. Is he dropping a castle? Or he is dropping a castle. A forward castle on this hill is really nice for him as well. And he's looking very close to being able to click up to the castle age. His eco balance is just fantastic at the moment. And once this castle goes up, he's already got a monastery. Does he have a university? No, he doesn't. So once this castle goes up, he's going to be able to click up to the imperial age. And you can see the transition where he's already thinking about it. Sorry, click up to the imperial age even. You can see he's already thinking about it, throwing down some extra stables as well. And Iron Castle coming in for the +2 attack on his knights. So he's going to have fully upgraded knights in the castle age, and he's going to be clicking up to the imperial age in just a minute. Just a minute. Click, 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 click. He hasn't clicked, he's done something else. I'm not really sure what he did. He did something. I don't know. Turns out he doesn't want to do the imperial age, he wants to do something else. A couple of lone knights running around inside his base as well. Inside his base, but it's not going to be too much. It's not going to be too hard to deal with. They're only, well, not only, but they're only +1, I guess you could say. And wow, that is something that you should be a little bit scared of as well. And Melkor has finally found this extra town center out here to the western side of the map. And likewise, Fire has found one of the extra town centers out here to the west of the map of Melkor here, and I'm not really sure why Fire didn't click up to the Imperial Age, but it turns out that he didn't really want to, unless my spectator thing is bugged, which it's not, that's fine, but he is starting to look in a really nice position as well. He's only 10 villages ahead, and we've got some knights moving around as well. In the back of Fire's base. Fire able to lay quite a bit of siege, taking down this one of the extra town centers out here on the left-hand side of Melkor's base. But Melkor almost running freely inside of Fire's base as Fire clicks up to the Imperial Age. Maybe Fire delayed the Imperial Age upgrade because he wanted to get out a few more knights to deal with the raiding that Melkor was doing. But he's clicked up now, and so long as he can clean up all this aggression inside of his base, I say all this aggression, there's only a few knights running around now, which it looks like he has done quite comfortably, he's going to be in a good position, especially since he does have quite a nice hold at the front of Melkor's base here, denying this wood line again for Melkor, and we've seen pretty much this whole game that wood has been quite an issue for Melkor. So that's a really nice castle position in my opinion as well. But the Imperial Age upgrade is now coming in for Fire, and he's not going to want to engage anything if he can help it. I do believe that most of the military from Melkor has now been cleaned up as well. Just a handful of pikemen here and there, but I don't see any knights buzzing around. This little economy. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I was going to say this little section of Melkor's economy out here to the west of the map. Having been taken down, and Melkor saying, "Nah, it's GG. We won't waste any more time." And I think he recognised the situation, and he knew that he wasn't going to be able to pull back in terms of economy or in terms of military or anything like that. His economy was starting to pick up. You can see he was only about 20 villages behind, give or take. But the military numbers was what was really going to sway it. By putting up a bit of a housing estate out here on the east of the map as well. But yeah, it was the military that was really going to be able to sway it in Fire's favour, especially since he was able to get up to the Imperial Age in a much quicker time than his opponent. So yeah, well played to Fire in that set of 3 games. He managed to take all 3 in the Mayans War and the Hun War, and also in the also in this Franks War that we've just seen. Arguably, the second game was almost a map win. I mean, this one kind of the same-ish. I mean, it looked like Melkor was in a good position after he stabilized from after Fire's initial sort of push with towers and one archery range. But yeah, I guess Fire just showing his class and just pulling through and managing to take the game quite convincingly in the end. So well played to Fire, and he has managed to secure himself a 3-0 victory over, as Pyro says in the chat, the Dark Lord. A reference to Lord of the Rings. So, yeah, I mean, well, that is pretty much all I've got for tonight. I hadn't planned on doing any more casting of any other games or anything tonight. But yeah, so thank you very much, everyone, for stopping by. The Dragon Awakened. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for stopping by.